Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily presented by eBay. I'm Dave DuFour here with Es Baraheni, and coming up, we're going to give some opinions, man. We've got some spooky stats on Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs as they move to 5-0. And then we've got Nick Friedell on to talk about the Warriors' big loss to the Bucks, even though Giannis was sitting out. Good morning, everybody. Happy Halloween. Happy Halloween, S. Happy World Series.
Thank you very
S.
much.
Your Blue Jays.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I felt like this was the appropriate costume to wear today, you know?
Yeah. You think they're going to get this thing done?
By the way, for the audio listeners, if you aren't watching this on YouTube, Dave has an incredible outfit, which you will reference from a specific movie. You'll get the reference. If you're old enough, you'll get
it's
the
reference. It's a hot outfit. I'll say that. It is warm. I'm in California, man. This is not sweater weather right now.
Oh yeah.
And also, I mean, gosh, every opinion I have about hair, I just am going to double down on that. Wearing a wig is the worst. Well, okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Anyway, it's Halloween. So, you know, we like to have fun around here. We dressed up a little bit. The Spurs moved to 5-0 with a win over the Miami Heat. And this is a good win. The Miami Heat have been good to start the season. We talked a lot about the changes that they've made to their offense, especially without Tyler Hero out there, you know, running just no screens, like not just not running pick and roll, just not really setting screens in general. And so I had this game circled because I thought, hey, with what the Spurs have been doing defensively, it'd be nice to see what happens when they play a team that's playing with this sort of pace. And you know what? The defense held up. I thought that they looked really great. Obviously, when you have Victor Wembanyama, it's hard not to. He goes pretty berserk, 27 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks. That's his third game with at least 25 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 blocks.
That's
in his
absurd.
career.
That's absurd. That's a spooky stat right
That's
there.
Spooky.
You know,
I'm hoping that like we have like ghosts come across the screen, like you know, like Pac-Man or something.
No,
I
like it.
We need something in there.
Yeah.
We need some
really
music,
lean into it. Maybe ghost sound effects. Cook it up for us. Possible.
So what do you think about the Spurs in this game? I mean, again, Miami. This is a good defense. We talked about. I mean, they've already hung 140 in regulation on 2 separate teams, and the Spurs hold them to 101 points.
I mean, look, I think the fact that the Spurs could make their one, I would say the pace for Miami was off today. I thought they couldn't get into their actions as quickly if they've tried to recently. But also, the Spurs are developing a bit of an identity. They will get a big lead. They'll blow that lead, and then they will try to close it out, which is a very young team characteristic to have. They had a 15-point lead in the second half in this game. Miami cut it down. Bam Adebayo was awesome. He took 13 threes, by the way. That's a spooky stat. But he knocked down 3 of them. He finished with 31. He was basically leading the way for Miami. And the Spurs closed them out in a massive way. The 3-point shooting, the atmosphere of the Spurs arena tonight was incredible on TV. It's back.
It's back. Guys, listen, that arena is one of the best places to watch a basketball game when it's a good team. I've been there for playoff series. It is back. It feels like there's an event happening at the Spurs arena every single night now. And I'm glad you brought that up because it does feel like there's more juice in the building. I mean, you saw these guys after the game. Look, 5-0. First time in Spurs history ever, this team. And it just felt different when these guys won that game. I mean, even Victor Wembanyama, the way he sort of celebrated, went out to the crowd. The Spurs crowd is totally back. Dylan Harper, another good game off the bench for him. You know, he puts up 13 points. We've been talking about just how good this team is, how young they are. But I don't know, man. Victor Wembanyama is really the scariest guy in the world right now.
He's terrifying, and I will throw back a spooky stat at you here. So coming into tonight, Victor Wembanyama had more blocks total this season, which was 19, than 10 teams in the NBA. That's just absurd. And look, honestly, his block totals, like you mentioned a couple of days ago, have gone down because teams are afraid to shoot the ball against him. So the fact that he is still blocking shots like this, the fact that he's deterring the rim, it's absurd. I'll give you another Wemby stat here just to throw it at you, okay? Wemby has now played 120 games in his NBA career. Through 120 games, he has more points than LeBron James did, more rebounds than Karl Malone, more blocks than Hakeem Olajuwon, and more threes than Steph Curry. Now, I don't know about you, but for most people, those would probably be at least debated as the best in those specific categories.
Oh, yeah.
He is lapping them.
Back in the day when they first added creative player to sports video games, the basketball games, I mean, you would try to make a guy like this.
Yeah.
How do I make a guy who's 7'6", but he can dribble and shoot threes and rebound? And it winds up not being fun if you actually play with those guys, because, you can score 50 and 20 every night. To see that happen in real life with a guy who does feel like doesn't it feel like he's going to be a 35 point a game guy? Because he gets points where other people don't. Like, they're just there for him. Between the threes, the offensive rebounding, touches the ball almost every single possession, whether it's passed to him or he's on the glass. I mean, this is like a different thing.
I used to play NBA Street Volume. I think it was 1 or 2. And they had this really, really tall guy in that game. You could do anything with. I think his name was Stretch. I can't remember what his exact name was, but he was what Victor Wembanyama is today, which is a my player. He's created. It doesn't make sense. What you see defies all odds. And this Spurs team has galvanized in such a massive way around him. The 3-point shooting makes sense. The defense makes sense. And they should incorporate De'Aaron Fox at some point to this whole thing, which we'll see how it works. But overall, this is looking like a team that's probably going to win 50 games in the West. If I'm jumping the gun here in October, Spurs might win 50.
I mean, they got a 5-game head start, right? Like, to come out of the gate like this really sets them up. They're looking like a playoff team. Mm-hmm. It doesn't like they can bank all these early wins, and it just feels like they're going to be a playoff team, not play in, which completely shuffles everything in the West, in my opinion, because this is early. This is ahead of schedule. This is almost like reminiscent of OKC like 2 years ago. And I'm not saying that they're that team or they're that good, but you never know. When they add De'Aaron Fox, maybe it's an extra piece instead of trying to figure out how does he fit. Maybe it's just perfect. We don't know yet.
I think there's a chance that it is a perfect fit. Look, you can't have too many guards in the NBA now. The ball handling that they will have with Dylan Harper, Steph Castle, and Fox, I think it'll help Wemby a lot. And if you think of like another team that I think of when I think of the Spurs team is the 06 LeBron team that finally made it to the playoffs, where it's like, okay, LeBron James is here and Victor Wembanyama is here. That's where we're at with him.
So you're predicting a finals run next season? Is that where we're at?
Yeah. Let's do that.
By the way, I got a stat for you. Another spooky stat.
Spooky stat.
Kel'el Ware, 0 points.
Damn.
So much for my. Hey, he's almost Wemby. No, 0 points, but he did block Wemby. I will give him credit for that.
I'll give it to you. Yeah.
Guys, Halloween, while you're at your Halloween parties, turn on the TV because it's NBA Cup kickoff night.
Yes, we are ready to respect the cup.
Yes, we do respect. We love and respect the cup around here.
Absolutely.
We will be in Vegas for the championship, the NBA Cup championship game. We're excited about that. It was a good time last year. We ran into a lot of listeners out there, which is awesome. So if you're going to be there, definitely let us know. But kicking it off on Halloween night, the game of the night has got to be Bulls Knicks, right? Undefeated Bulls facing the Knicks.
Yeah. I mean, look, this is one of their best tests yet. I mean, they've played awesome basketball so far. They have a young group led by Josh Giddey that plays a specific style, as we've talked about on this podcast a bunch of times, but they also are heading into a stretch in their schedule where they're playing some really good teams. And so this is a good early test for them. I also think, I don't know how you feel about this, Dave, but they give sneaky upside bet for the play-in turn or for the NBA Cup. Like, I think the Bulls they play hard. They can catch some teams. I think they have a chance to make a pretty deep run in the NBA Cup.
Well, we've talked about this we talked about this last year. We've talked about this a little bit in the run up this year, but there are teams that absolutely should just be trying to go all in. And 100%. I want to win the NBA Cup because they don't really have much else to play for.
You know what's another team? The Spurs that we just talked about.
Spurs should be trying to win the NBA Cup. And I think about these tournaments and I like to think about them, more like a regular basketball tournament rather than an NBA style tournament. And I think about guard play, and you look at what like OKC last year, they make it to the finals, and then they just couldn't hit a shot.
Yeah,
same thing happened 2 years ago with the Pacers, right? Like they make it to the final, couldn't hit a shot. I think it's going to be shooting and guard play, right? Like your most consistent shooting teams, and with the way that the Spurs have been shooting the basketball, I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe they should be the favorites. I mean, it's probably going to be Oklahoma City because it's still just NBA basketball games, right? And we expect them to just keep winning, but I don't know. I like to think these NBA Cup games mean just a little bit more.
So who's your underdog? Who's the team making a run for you?
You know what? How about the Charlotte Hornets?
Wow,
why not?
I like that.
Like they're trying to build culture there. They've got some good young talent. They did drop a game last night to the Magic, which, the Magic should beat them. But they've got some good young talent. I think that this could, they've got the guard play. LaMelo is amazing.
Yes.
You think about having to win one game. I don't know if I trust him to win one game. I trust him to hit one shot though. So if you can keep it close, I don't know. They're scrappy.
Can I give you a sneaky pick here?
Yeah.
And okay, so the Hornets are in the same group as the Bulls, that are the same group as the Heat, the Bucks, and the Knicks. What about back-to-back titles for the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA Cup? How do we feel about that?
Well, with the way, and we're going to talk to Nick Friedell after the break about this, but with the way that they are playing, and they did this without Giannis, this big Warriors win, with the way Ryan Rollins is playing, looking like he's their starting point guard for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
AJ Green doesn't really miss shots anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why not the Bucks?
I kind of like the pick, and Ryan Rollins is heating up at the right time too. I think you talked about guard play. That's really important,
and they are in a good group to win. Yeah, I like. You know what?
Yeah,
going with the Bucks. You convinced me. Yes,
okay.
Bucks are gonna. Right. Let's go ahead and do it. Our pick to win the 2025 NBA Cup
repeat
back to back. The Milwaukee Bucks. Go ahead. Let's we'll go to Vegas and no, we won't. No, we won't. No gambling on this show. Guys, stick around after the break. Nick Friedell is here to talk about the Warriors' loss to the Bucks and how Ryan Rollins did what he did. What should have been an easy win for the Warriors without Giannis out there for the Bucks turned into a laid egg. Here to talk about it, the guy who's covering the Warriors for us now, Nick Friedell. Welcome to the show. Welcome to The Athletic. Usually when I'm talking to somebody about, the Warriors, I ask them what it's like to be in the building when Steph Curry does something. But tonight, I got to ask you, man, what was it like to be in the building for the Ryan Rollins show?
It was quite the experience. When somebody's running that hot, I think there's a little bit of disbelief at how it's going. But to put into context just how big of a night it was for Ryan Rollins, Steph was signing a jersey at his locker stall. And when we were sitting there, it was kind of like, well, who's this for? And then Rollins reveals after the game that he had Steph sign one for him. So I'm sure
that's awesome.
Everybody is feeling a little extra special in that Bucks locker room. It was quite the sight, though. And Steve Kerr was kind of funny. He said, I think we're 0-12 when the other star on the other team sits out. We just kind of take our foot off the gas and they don't play the way they should. It happened again tonight. There's certainly no concern in that Warriors room, but to see where Milwaukee was going into the game and to see who had to step up for them to make it happen, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it felt like they were lacking motivation, which is maybe not typical of the Warriors, but it seems like it is typical if it's 0-12 when a team is missing a star. What was everybody saying post game about why they laid this egg?
I thought Kerr made it an intriguing point, and I hesitate to think that it will it'll upset some fans. But he said, I think we're just a little mentally fatigued. And people will hear that and go, oh, it's the beginning of the year. But as Kerr said, this is like their 6th game in 10 nights, and they've played all across the country already. And people will say, pro athletes, they're flying first cut. Okay, they're still humans. And you play that many games in a short stretch, especially at the beginning of the year where everybody's still kind of getting in shape and feeling their way through things, and stuff like this happens. Guys, what I thought was interesting is Steph's sitting there at his locker, and he's saying, I know this feeling because from 09 till, 12 or 13, the Warriors would go into games and they didn't have enough talent most nights. But if they played the right way, everything clicked, they could win. And Steph said, I know this feeling because it would happen here and there occasionally in those years. It just happened from Milwaukee tonight without Giannis. So I think the Warriors are still feeling really good about where they're at. They just know they laid an egg. They didn't play defense really well, and they got beat by a team that was absolutely hungrier.
What do you think about how the season has started for them? Let's say just outside of this game, because even in this game, there's bright spots. I think Jonathan Kuminga has been excellent to start the year. Quentin Post has been really good. But what are some of the things that have stood out to you, here 6 games in?
That they're feeling good about themselves. And this team, when they have confidence, they are going to be tough for anybody to beat. And guys, we're going to hear this all season long, and it's the key. You have to have them healthy for them to have any kind of shot. If somebody goes down, that'll be the end, especially if it's Steph. But in the same breath, that's any team in the league. So everybody's got to be healthy. There's just more focus on this team because there are so many high-level guys who are 35 and over. They just have to find a balance. But I think Kuminga's name is what pops up when you say, all right, what surprised you or what's been the good thing if you're a Warriors fan going into this season, first couple weeks? It's him. He's been awesome. He's taken his game to a different level. He's passing better. He's playing defense better. He's rebounding better. Everything's a little extra for him right now. He feels really solid when he's out there and they trust him. And when you have that kind of belief, everybody else starts to look for him a little bit more, and they know what he can do. So there's absolutely no reason to think that the Warriors can't keep stringing good performances together. They just know as they start the year, no matter what the hell happens in the next few months, it's all about April. If they can get healthy going into April, it'll be all right.
Well, some of the fact that their stars are playing less minutes now, granted tonight, Jimmy Butler plays 36, Steph plays 34, but they're trying to limit how many minutes those guys are playing for the most part. The depth is coming in really clutch right now for this Warriors team. From what you've kind of talked to everybody on the team about, what are they saying about the depth of this Warriors team?
That it can be really, really good, and it's mostly young, and they feel like it's going to get better as they play more games together. Yeah. I mean, we've talked about Kuminga, but a guy like Brandon Pajimski, he's about to take a next step potentially in his third year. Moses Moody looks like a really solid player. He can take a little bit of another step. Quentin Post the other night was knocking down threes from all over the place. When you have that many different guys who can give you a lift. And I throw one more name in there who's at least caught the coaching staff's attention and his teammates early. It's Will Richard from Florida.
Great. He's been awesome.
When you see the young players have the success that they've had, and then you juxtapose that against all these older guys who you and I and everybody else knows they know what they're going to do and they know how to play. Then you start to think, all right, well, maybe this team really is pretty deep all the way around. Guys, we haven't even mentioned DeAnthony Melton.
They haven't added him yet.
He hasn't even appeared yet. Same goes for Seth Curry. He'll be out there at some point down the line. This is a very deep team. Mike Dunleavy can make another couple moves at the deadline. But again, that's why it's so fascinating how this year is going to play out. We'll see how these games go. It's all about maintaining, and we talked about the minutes, getting them past the All-Star break and into those last couple months. If you get there and you play them in a 7-game series, look out.
Not only do they have depth, they actually have interchangeable lineup versatility. They can switch their starting lineup to match whoever. I mean, Al Horford's coming off the bench for them. He can obviously spot start in big games. You can play him next to Quentin Post because both of those guys can shoot, and Al Horford can move the ball so well and is a good passer. You mentioned Pajemski and Moody. I mean, if they want to go small, they can start those guys and have Draymond at the 5. It does seem as if while they lack, amazing size, they don't have any elite centers. That's it. Everything else they kind of have covered. I mean, I would say maybe a wing stopper is something that they could use, depending on how you feel about Jimmy Butler in that role come playoff time. But when I look at this roster, I think, okay, this is pretty good. I don't know if it's a championship roster, though, as the lights get turned out on Nick in the arena. But, Nick, I mean, if they had a move to make, what type of player? We did say
it was a spooky night.
It is Halloween. Yeah.
Lights going out. Yeah.
What type of player would you see them, could you see them going out to get? Like who fits here? Not necessarily a name, but give me like an archetype.
I would just say another big man because you know what you're going to get from Draymond. And I know Horford has started slowly, but again, as Kurt just said after this Bucks game, he's Al Horford. He'll be fine. If you had one more big man just for depth purposes, I think that could help them. But let's see how the next couple months play out. Because, again, I don't think anybody within that Warriors organization is looking at this saying, all right, everybody's going to play 70, 75 games. That's not going to happen. The injuries are part of it. We'll see what happens when they do come down. But as far as I can see, in these first couple weeks of the season, this team was pretty solid. When you get Kuminga playing at that level, guys, it's just a completely different look. And it provides for them even more confidence for a group that thrives upon it anyway. So as far as a move down the line, you can always get some more depth. But there was so much talk of, well, what's the other piece and who else could that piece be? I think they have the pieces in place. I'm certainly not saying they're going to go win another title again. But all you can hope for if you're the Warriors at this stage is to have a chance. And I absolutely believe, all things being equal, with Steph at the level he's still at, they have a chance.
Nick, I know it's kind of hard to get a read on the Bucks tonight just because Giannis didn't play, but Ryan Rollins' career night, they got contributions from everybody, it seemed like, offensively, and maybe some of that is the Warriors taking the night off, so to speak. But what were your impressions from the Bucks seeing them live?
The Bucks play hard, guys, and you can win a lot of games in the regular season by playing hard. I mean, come on, I was in Chicago for a lot of years covering those Tibbs teams. They beat teams a lot of nights just because they played harder than they did.
Yeah.
Doc Rivers can get the most out of the group, especially on nights when nobody thinks they can win anyway without Giannis.
My favorite thing is watching him on the sideline. He's just yelling, come on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go. But I think with Milwaukee, when you watch them, they know what they're going to get from Giannis when he's out there.
Yeah.
And they know that nobody's really expecting much from him. If you have a team that's playing with very little expectations, having fun, well, that's a combination in this league for a lot of success in the regular season. So who knows how it plays out 4 or 5 months from now. But the early returns are solid. They play tough. They play to win. And when you start having these type of games, when the big man does come back, you go, okay, let's see what can happen. All of a sudden, you
get a little bit of belief mixed in there with the working hard, right? And so a little bit of luck. We just picked them to win the NBA Cup.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, the Bucks just have something, man. Like, I don't know what it is. It's like no one actually believes in them.
Nick, do you have a pick for the NBA Cup?
It's real.
If I'm being real honest, I just do not. I cannot get into the NBA.
Oh, you got to respect the cup. You got to respect the cup, Nick.
The NBA. I sit there and I watch those games the last couple of years, and I go, okay. I mean, I know the diehards. Trust me, I hear it, but all I think, guys, is these are nice looking regular season games that are dressed up. And if somebody can get to Vegas, cool. I love going to Vegas. Let's party and let's play some blackjack and watch some basketball. Great, but I just cannot get into the NBA Cup.
Yeah.
And that means the Warriors are going to make a run. We're going to see
That's exactly what it's going to be.
Nick is going to be on the show in Vegas. We'll see you there, buddy. We're all in on the NBA Cup. Games kick off tonight, Halloween night. Nick, do you have a costume for Halloween?
I have gone as Fred Flintstone several times in my life. I am not going to have one in Indianapolis, guys. But if I ever needed a last-minute go-to, I'm going as Fred.
I like Fred. That's a
pretty good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah.
That is a good one. All right, guys. Nick Friedell, he covers the Warriors for us over at The Athletic. Go and follow him on the app. So every time he posts a new story, you get an alert. And check out his videos work that's going to be happening this season. He's going to be here a lot because the Warriors, obviously super important in the NBA. That's going to do it for the show, folks. Thanks to Nick. Thanks to Es Baraheni. I'm Dave DuFour. This has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for waking up with us.